In the day of salvation, when Christ the Good Shepherd was seeking out his flock and gathering them, isn't it true that God's people couldn't seek him first, but Christ had to do all the work first and then draw them to himself?
Well, yes, there's a good hymn that we play where it speaks of seeking the Lord. And then it says, afterward, basically, I realized that it was not me seeking him, but it was the Lord seeking me. And that's the fact that if anyone were rightly seeking the Lord and humbling themselves, going to the Bible, beseeching God for mercy, waiting on him properly, if anyone were doing that, it was a result of God drawing them to himself, as we read in John 6, verse 44. No man can come to me except the Father which has sent me draw him, and I will raise him up at the last day. God drew his people to himself, and drawing is a mysterious process. It was very possible for people not to be saved, to be caught in that drawing process of God for weeks or months or years. And they just could not go away. They couldn't go away. They couldn't turn back. Sometimes they may even want to. They may say, well, I don't like this. I don't like living not knowing if I'm saved. I see my sin and I'm under the wrath of God. What's the point of this? I can't get myself saved. Sometimes individuals would have conversations with themselves about this. I want to get away from this. This is unpleasant. It's too hard. And they could not. They could not, because God had a hold of them. The word draw, if you follow it, it's a word that identifies even with violent force. It's like God had a hold of someone by, the back of their neck, and he was not going to let them go until he saved them. That is someone that God actually drew and was really, truly in that drawing process. They would have had to have been elect, but God is the one who would select the particular period in time in which he would save that person, maybe even the last day of their life, or maybe May 20th, 2011, but he would save them. Now today, we have a different use of the word draw, where there's been a delay in the drawing process. We've talked about this before. In John 21, we read of the great catch of fish, and it says in verse 6, and he said unto them, cast a net on the right side of the ship, and ye shall find. They cast therefore, and now they were not able to draw it for the multitude of fishes. The fishing net identifies with God's salvation. They have been caught. They have been saved, is what it means. But it's that great multitude coming out of great tribulation. And because of the multitude, that's the reason that's given, they are not drawn. They're not drawn. And this is the same word, draw, John 6:44. No man can come to me except the Father which sent me draw him. So now we have a situation in the day of judgment where God saves first and draws later. And we can say they're drawn later because it says in verse 10, Jesus saith unto them, bring of the fish which ye have now caught. Simon Peter went up and drew the net to land full of great fishes, 153, and for all there were so many, yet was not the net broken. So here the word drew is the same Greek word. So later, after they're caught and they're not drawn for a short period of time, we don't know how long in the actual historical account, but that's not the point. The point is, spiritually, God saves a great multitude and delays in their drawing until a later time. Then he commands, draw them. And this is why I expect that we're going to see people who were saved, part of that great multitude, that will come, they will respond to this information that's being put out there, that E-Bible Fellowship is sharing about Judgment Day, because God already saved them. and God will draw them in due time. Actually, I am expecting that many children of family radio listeners, because there was a large number of them, and right now you don't see hardly any of them. There's a few that are giving evidence of salvation, but there were large numbers. There were many families with numbers of children. And at this time, a good number of their parents are opposed to the truth of the Bible concerning what God did on Judgment Day. I'm expecting that these parents are going to be quite shaken when their own children start following the truth of the Bible regarding these things. That is, they're going to be a testimony to their own parents in due time, where the Lord is going to draw them. I don't know how many out of each family, of course, nobody knows that, but a significant number will be drawn at a later time. And they're going to be coming from the families of many people turn critic, turn hostile to the Bible. God will bring his elect people to himself. So we actually have a good expectation of seeing a response when we go out on a track trip, when we continue to share information, of seeing a response, again, in due time, to the truth of the Bible, but not that these people are becoming saved now, but that God saved them before shutting the door, and there's been a delay in the drawing process. And John 21 teaches us that.